Australia. Australia. Focus question. What different elements from history to habitats make Australia the country it is today? Welcome to Australia. The official name of Australia is the Commonwealth of Australia, but Australians call their land Oz. It is a place so unique. It might have come from a fantasy story rather than real life. Australia is the world's largest island. Australia is the only country that is also a continent. In fact, it is the smallest and flattest continent. Australia has beautiful beaches and amazing wildlife. It is also a country with a fascinating and troubling history. The first European colony on Australia was a group of prisoners sent from Great Britain. The impact of colonization has been far-reaching from the first humans who lived in Australia, the island's indigenous peoples. Located in the southern hemisphere, or half of Earth, Australia is south of the equator, so it has the opposite seasons of places north of the equator. When it is winter in Europe, North America, and in some areas of South America, it is summer in Australia. June through August is winter in Australia. Read on to learn more about the country, the continent, and the island called the land down under. The land. Australia is the sixth largest country in the world. It is as large as the United States, not counting Hawaii and Alaska. The continent covers 7,692,024 square kilometers. 2,969,907 square miles of land. The Indian Ocean borders Australia on the west and south, while the Pacific Ocean surrounds the northern and eastern edges. Australia has three main areas: the Western Plateau, the Central Lowlands, and the Eastern Highlands. The Western Plateau, covering 2/3 of Australia, is a flat, dry desert area with hot weather. Scientists have found the world's oldest rocks in the Western Plateau. Dry grasslands are found in the Central Lowlands, where it is hot all year during the day but can be very cold at night. The Great Dividing Range, part of the Eastern Highlands, is home to rivers, valleys, and Australia's highest mountains. Australia has diverse habitats including desert, freshwater, coastal, sea, grasslands, wetlands, rainforests, and heathlands. Heathland areas are usual coastal and low plants covering the ground due to spraying salt water and poor soil. Northern Australia has a tropical climate, when the southeastern and southwestern areas are mostly mild. The middle of the country is mainly desert. Most areas in Australia have very few people living in them. Today, around 90% of Australians live in cities, mainly along the coasts. In Australia, most cities are located long distances from one another. Canberra is Australia's capital city. Sydney is its largest city with a population of more than 5 million. The underpopulated areas of Australia are mostly in the large, dry inland area known as the outback. The outback has enormous deserts as well as some mountainous regions. The landscape seems too sketchy and forever. Rain may not fall there for years at a time. Towns in the outback typically amount to just a few buildings and are spread far apart. Some residents of the outback live and work on enormous ranches called stations, which are actually larger than some small countries. Other people work in mining and oil production. Do you know? Around 24,000 species of plants and animals live in Australia. Eucalyptus or gum trees are Australia's most common tree. Branches of beautiful green leaves tower high above colored trunks. The people. Thousands of years ago, Australia was home to many indigenous peoples. Some experts estimate that around 1 million indigenous peoples live in Australia, although others estimate a lower number after the British colonized the continent. It was changed forever. Today, Australia is a nation with more than 25 million inhabitants. In 2020, around 91% of Australians were white and 7% were Asian. Less than 3% or around 250,000 people are indigenous peoples. History. Two distinct groups are considered indigenous Australians: Aboriginal peoples from the mainland of Australia and Torres Strait Islanders who live on a group of islands north to Australia. After 50,000 years of living in Australia, the lives of indigenous peoples came to a spark halt in the 17th century. Europeans began to explore and colonize their land. The British saw Australia as a way to solve the problem of overcrowding in British prisons. In 1788, a penal or convict colony, a settlement of prisoners, arrived in Australia from England. The first settlement had around 759 prisoners, 568 men and 191 women, 200 soldiers and 40 wives and children of the soldiers. They lived in tents and ate native animals as well as food sent from England. Before the British colonized the land, indigenous people belonging to more than 500 different groups with their own distinct languages and cultures lived in Australia. Between 1788 and 1798, an estimated 90% of Australia's indigenous population was killed either during violent encounters with the British or from disease brought by the colonizers. Indigenous peoples continually resisted the stealing of their lands. They maintained their cultures, languages, and traditions. Although the population of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples had dropped to about 117,000 by 1901, the population has since risen to around pre-colonization numbers. The Stolen Generation. Between 1910 and the 1970s, the Australian government took tens of thousands of children from Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander families. The government arranged for the children to be adopted by white Australians, forbidding the children to have any connection to their indigenous cultures and traditions. The impact of these children, known as the Stolen Generation, is far-reaching. Indigenous peoples still struggle to recover from the forced erasure of their history and culture. Wildlife. Australia's history has affected its wildlife population. As cities have abandoned, natural areas have grown smaller, making habitats and food scarce for some animals. Because of the continent's isolation and harsh conditions, animals found nowhere else on Earth have made their home in Australia. Many of Australia's mammals are marsupials, such as kangaroos and wallabies. These animals give birth to tiny, helpless babies that must live in a pouch or pocket on its mother's body while continuing to develop. Most marsupials disappeared long ago on other continents. South America still has some, but Australia's isolation allowed many types of marsupials to thrive. Scientists aren't actually sure why. One idea has to do with marsupials have little competition for food. Their shorter pregnancies might have also given them an advantage. The platypus is an animal unique to Australia. It has 4 legs, fur, beady eyes, a tail like a beaver's, a duck's bill, and webbed feet. Adult males have venomous spurs on their back ankles. Although a platypus is a mammal, females lay eggs. One of Australia's most extraordinary places is the Great Barrier Reef, which is located off the coast of northeastern Australia. The largest coral reef system is in the world. It is home to more than 1,500 types of fish, 2,000 kinds of coral and other sea creatures, sea plants, and birds. Climate change, fishing, coastal construction, and runoff water from the land carrying pollutants are all major threats to the reef. Many people are working to save the Great Barrier Reef. Coral bleaching. When reef water gets too warm due to climate change, coral react by casting out the algae that live on them. Then the coral change color to all white and begin to starve. Things to do. The sun is usually shining in Australia. Visits to the beach and time spent out on the water swimming, surfing, snorkeling, scuba diving, and boating are typical activities for many Australians. Shark Bay, Australia's largest bay, is on the western part of the island and home to an incredible array of wildlife. The western area's Kimberley region has breathtaking gorges, rocky shores, waterfalls, rivers, and beaches. Bondi Beach is the southeast near Sydney is one of the world's most famous beaches with its beautiful white sand. A 3 or 4 day train journey across the entire continent takes visitors through Australia's different habitats to see breathtaking sights, such as the rocky peaks and gorges of the Flinders Range on the outback. Trips to explore the back never disappoint. Visitors hike, discover wildlife, and swim in wild water holes. Uluru, the world's largest monolith or single rock, is a scarce site of the Anangu peoples. It is located about 200 miles west of Alice Springs in a region called Red Centre. Sydney is an important destination in Australia. Visitors enjoy the city's harbour and the Sydney Harbour Bridge, the largest steel arch bridge in the world. They also take in the beauty of one of the most famous modern buildings, the Sydney Opera House. Down under. Australia's extremely isolated location has allowed it to develop in many unique ways. The island is celebrated for its natural beauty as well as its special titles as the world's biggest island and the only country to also be a continent. Most about the land down under, from its unique creatures to its incredible landscapes, is unlike any place else on Earth.